Welcome to the segment of the 3-hour news show, See the Stories.
Hey.
Now, before we begin our talk show, I want to ask Mello, no, he's not Mello today, my fellow host,
The
Rory.
weather is mellow.
Rory. So we talked about this earlier in the
Yeah,
beginning of the show, but have you ever thought about switching your career? Is it like more like, switching, or you just want to add more career?
I don't know if it's a switch of a career or an expansion of a career, because I resigned from my full-time job as a journalist back then. And then I became, news anchor for See Today as with you as well, right? But then I expanded to doing something else's.
Businesses.
Right? Businesses, and then maybe more, intensified of doing MC and moderating on the outside and other things as well. And I believe you do that as well, right? You started your career as a presenter, then now you're a news anchor with See Today, as well as a coach of Pound Fit.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a switch, but expansion, don't you think?
Expansion, and expansions equals more money, guys.
Exactly, to fill up our bank account.
That's right. So many people with professional work experience often contemplate career changes. Let's have a look at the following video.
So a career switch is not only about moving to another company, but also changing job roles, contrary from the previous field. Several factors can influence someone to switch their career, such as boredom, wanting a better work-life balance, or realizing that their current job does not align with their passion. So I talked to our friends here at See Today that we have to admit that the media landscape nowadays is so different, right? You have to be really aware that when it comes to political vested interest, the media has it. We have to admit it, right? So that's one of the reasons why many of my colleagues resign and decided to start their new venture. For me, it's starting See Today, which I believe this is a good medium for us to spread good news about Indonesia.
Were you nervous though when you during the switching?
Of course. Of course. For 10 years it was in Indonesian language. Now I have to speak English all the time. It's challenging and it's daunting to speak amid you and Kai and other, English-speaking professionals.
But it's a whole lot of fun here, right?
Yeah.
So how does one make a successful career switch? Now we want to know more, and of course you want to know more about the answer also. So we have career coach Myra Karjadidjaja. All right, here we go.
It's pretty difficult to pronounce your name,
I
Myra.
I didn't want to butcher your name. Hi, Myra, please. Welcome.
Welcome to the show, Myra.
Thank you.
So welcome back to the set.
Yes.
All right, so you've heard about our stories.
Yeah.
Basically, we just, when we were adding more career, we just want more money, right?
Exactly.
That's being honest here,
it's
right?
different to maybe many people out there.
Yeah.
Shifted, right? Shifted career from profession A to a profession that is completely different, right? So, as Yani also said, is it just too late because we are in our 30s? Is it just too late to switch career, which is completely different from our previous career?
Yeah, I can say that it is never too late to switch careers, but I have to say that it should be done carefully, meaning that you can't just, wake up one day and think that, oh, I see a lot of my friends in tech, so maybe I should be an engineer. I don't think career switching works like that. You have to have a lot of discussion, you have to have a lot of thought process, and if you have a family, you have to have that discussion with them as well to think about the pros and cons before actually, okay, fine, now I want to make a career switch.
What's the extreme case that you've encountered in terms of career shift? Someone from maybe, social science background becoming a doctor, or, is there any more extreme cases?
I won't say this is very extreme, but it is definitely unique. So before I worked with the job that I have now, I was in an IT boot camp or tech boot camp, and we have someone that was 40 years old, was a lecturer, maybe I think in economics, if I'm not mistaken, and he quit that job and went to our boot camp to become an engineer.
At
Wow.
40 years old. I was even surprised because I was a bit worried that.
And this person had to work together with what, Gen Z at that time?
Yes. Yeah, about someone that is probably 15 to 20 years younger than him.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So really, career change can be done at any age.
Yes.
Okay, but why do people often feel like they need to change careers in their 30s when they have plenty of experience as well? Because sometimes people think when you're 30, you're good, you're settled, right?
Yes.
So why? Why do they feel the need to change?
I feel that I can speak from my personal experience as well. When I didn't change career, but I do change industry, and that is almost as challenging as changing careers.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to change, move on from what I was doing before is because I feel stagnated, if I can say it like that. I feel that I am not growing. I am not where I wanted to be before. So after serious contemplating, even talking to my parents, talking to my friends, I finally feel that, okay, this is it. I have to move on.
Yeah.
And at that point, okay, I have to change.
So that's the internal factor,
Yes.
right? But is there an external factor that drives someone to change career, for example, like, as my own experience that I talked with Yanni about,
Yeah.
for example, about some ethical consideration or values that is no longer consistent with ours.
Yes.
Does that also drive people to shift career?
I do believe so. Yeah, I do believe so because everyone is different, right? And I think if I can add on to that, not just for ethical means, but also for, as you said, more money. Because they see like all of these engineers, all of these product managers, project managers, I mean, everything that has to do with IT nowadays.
Yeah.
It looks like, at least I can say, it looks like it pays more than probably what they are doing right then, and that kind of like inspires them to, okay, I want to do this career.
But we have to remember nowadays we are entering the winter phase.
Exactly. I agree on that as well.
But,
Right.
but how can someone assess whether their desire for a new career is driven by external factor? Like, how would you be so sure?
Yeah, that's also interesting. Like I said, it's not just one person thought process. You can think that you need a career change, but you also need to see the actual, the things that happening around you. Meaning you have to have conversations, you have to talk with the people that you think you want the career, you think you want their career, but you have to talk about them as well to have that sort of maintain expectations. So you would actually understand whether or not career switching is for you.
So before asking about money or passion, I want to ask you, would you recommend people to switch career or expand, like diversify their careers?
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I would recommend to, again, assess first whether or not this is the right move for you. And if you think that you don't want to move from the comfort that you already have with your current career, then expand. You don't have to, leave whatever it is that you already been doing for maybe 10 years, 15 years to just start something new entirely, because that poses a lot of challenges as well. Because yes, you have the experience, but that experience is probably not
Relevant.
relevant or not worth much if you start something new. And that's, like I said, it's a challenge for me.
Okay, so that's the choices between shifting or diversifying.
Yes.
But now let's focus on the shifting part,
Yes.
right? Would you recommend people to choose money over passion or vice versa?
Oh, that's a very, very hard question.
I think it depends on how many kids you have, right?
Talking about money here, right?
Yeah, probably.
Exactly.
Probably. Then again,
Well, if you have 4 kids, you have no choice.
kind of, yeah. If you have a lot of, people that you should answer to at home, or people that you should, if you are like that, then you probably have to think really hard whether or not you need to move for, as as you said, passion or money.
Yeah.
So it definitely depends on not just what you want with your career, but also you have to think about the people around you as well.
Yeah.
And that could be a really big conflict inside of you.
Yeah, I would say we need to ask ourselves first, right? We have to be realistic at the same time, but also maybe can find our passion in that
Yeah.
being realistic. Right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. When people do career switching, sometimes it's like two totally different worlds, right? So how do one person get the credibility to do this this new job that they have?
Yeah, that's actually interesting. To gain credibility, you don't really, not really, but you don't have to just do it from your experience. Because if you switch career, then it's a bit hard to, judge from the previous experience that you have, because it's completely different.
Yeah.
There are other things like certifications, international certifications actually assess your skill on this particular job that you wanted for career switching, or you just go to boot camps. And now boot camps, it's literally not just IT. Maybe IT boot camps is the first one to emerge because it's so big during 2018, 2019. But now there's business development boot camps, there's design boot camps, there's so many boot camps. And what's unique about boot camps is that they actually help you to find the job according to the boot camp that you have. So now you don't only have the assessment, but you also have the experience, even though it's maybe just internship or something like that.
Okay, so this is the $1 million question, right? So what should one prepare before switching a career or decide to switch a career? What's the steps involved?
What's the steps involved? I think I already mentioned this a little bit in the beginning. You have to have that conversation with yourself whether or not this is the right move for you, and then you have to have the conversation with your peers whether or not that dream job that you want to do for job switching is actually make sense for you or not. And then you can research the salary, you can research the companies, and then you can, okay, maybe this is the right step for me. And then you also have to think about the responsibilities and the risks, because you can fail. Yeah, you can definitely fail. That's something that can happen, and if you are willing to take that risk, then maybe that job switching is for you.
Would you consider people leaving their company or people leaving their job at a 9-to-5 job, right? To become an entrepreneur is a career switch as well?
I do believe so, because it's a different responsibilities, right? Before you have this set of job descriptions that you have to do when you become an entrepreneur, it's a different set of job description that you have to do, and even more responsibility, because then it's not a salary, it's not a monthly salary, but you have to think about the amount of money.
To give salary to people.
To give salary to people, exactly.
And you mentioned about how you spoke with your parents as well before doing career switching. So I guess talking to some to family members, it's good if you need moral support, right?
Exactly,
Okay, to help you make that decision.
Yes.
All right, so how should a person approach, this is interesting. We're gonna talk about salary expectation.
Ooh.
How should someone approach salary expectation when switching to an industry where a person has less experience?
Okay, I actually can give a really sound advice with this one. If you look up in the internet and you look up through, I think, resourcing companies, headhunting companies, they actually have a salary guide. So you would know the minimum salary that you can get if you, for instance, apply as a staff position and not getting blindsided by those HRs that tries to price you a little bit lower, because you actually have that salary guide. So do your research. Make sure that you have the right salary guide. Large headhunting companies usually always come up with salary guides every year, usually at the beginning of the year. So then you can check that out and see whether or not the salary that was offered to you makes sense for your job or not.
Okay, I'm thinking that if we switch from one field of social science, for example, marketing, to another social science discipline, for example, HR, it is still related. It can be learned, right? But then if you switch from, HR to IT, which is completely different, that must be challenging as well, right? There are many steps that we have to go through.
Yes.
Wow. So, okay, Myra, so thank you. We're gonna continue our discussion later on our second segment. And for the next segment, See the Stories will continue with more interesting questions to Myra, so don't go anywhere.